You are sitting in a room full of people you love. They are laughing. Someone is telling a story. Glasses are clinking, and everyone seems so present. But you are sitting there, watching it all like it is happening behind a glass wall. You can see it. You can hear it. But you cannot feel it. You smile when you are supposed to smile. You laugh when it seems right. But somewhere deep inside, there is this quiet, aching feeling that you do not belong here. Not really. And the most terrifying part is not the feeling itself. It is that you cannot explain it. These are your people. This is supposed to be safe. So why do you feel so completely alone? If you have ever felt this way, stay with me. Because what I am about to tell you is not just psychology. It is the answer you have been looking for your entire life. Let me paint a picture. It is a family dinner, or a friend's birthday, or even a date with someone you genuinely like. The setting does not matter. What matters is this: you are there, but you are not there. You watch yourself from a slight distance. You choose your words carefully. You monitor people's reactions. You perform the version of yourself that feels acceptable in this moment. And afterward, when you finally get home and close the door, you feel something strange. Not happiness, not sadness exactly, just exhaustion and relief. Relief that you can finally stop. Sound familiar? This is not shyness. This is not introversion. And it is definitely not you being too sensitive or too much in your head. This is something that was built inside you, quietly, over many years. And it started long before you were old enough to understand what was happening. Here is what most people never get told. Human beings are not born feeling like strangers. We are born wired for connection. A newborn does not question whether it belongs. It simply reaches out. It cries. It needs. It trusts. That instinct, that natural, effortless sense of belonging, is your original state. So what happened? At some point in your early life, something sent you a very specific message. The message was not always spoken out loud. It rarely was. It came through silence, through emotional unavailability, through a parent who was physically present but emotionally somewhere else, through being too much or not enough, or simply being ignored in the moments that mattered most. And your young mind, which could not yet understand adult complexity, drew the only logical conclusion it could. There is something wrong with me. I am different. I do not quite fit. That belief, planted in childhood, watered by years of experience, became the lens through which you see every room you walk into, every conversation, every relationship. You learn to be present on the surface, while keeping the real you at a safe distance. Psychologists call this emotional detachment. But I want to give you a more honest name for it. It is a survival skill that outlived its purpose. When you were young, disconnecting protected you. If you stayed on the surface, you could not be hurt too deeply. If you performed the right version of yourself, you reduced the risk of rejection. If you never fully arrived in a room, you never had to face what it felt like to be truly unseen there. It was brilliant, actually. Your nervous system figured out exactly how to keep you safe. But here is where it gets painful. The same wall that protected you then is now keeping connection out. You built it to survive, but you are still living inside it long after the danger has passed. And so, you walk into rooms full of people who love you, and some part of your nervous system still whispers the old warning: do not get too close. Do not fully arrive. Stay ready to leave. You feel like a stranger, not because you are one, but because some part of you learned that being fully seen is dangerous. Think about the last time someone asked you how you were really doing, not the casual, "How are you?" in passing, but a real, quiet moment where someone looked at you and waited. What did you feel? Most people who carry this wound feel a sudden, almost panicked urge to deflect, to say, I'm fine, to turn the conversation back to the other person, to perform okayness so convincingly that even they start to believe it. Or think about moments of genuine happiness, a beautiful evening, a real laugh with a friend, and then, without warning, this shadow that falls over it, this voice that says, this will not last. Do not trust it. Do not let yourself feel it fully. That is not pessimism. That is a nervous system that learned to distrust good things. Because good things, in your early experience, had a way of being taken away. Or consider how you behave in groups. You observe, you adapt. You mirror the energy of whoever is around you. You become whoever the room seems to need. And at the end of the night, you go home and wonder who you actually are. These are not character flaws. They are symptoms. Symptoms of a very old pain that never got properly named. Now here is what I need you to hear, and I need you to really hear it. The fact that you feel like a stranger in rooms full of people does not mean you are broken. It means you are someone who learned to protect a very tender, very real self from a world that did not always know how to hold it. The loneliness you feel is not evidence that you are unlovable. It is evidence that you are longing for something real, for a connection where you do not have to perform, where you do not have to monitor yourself, where you can simply exist and know that it is enough. That longing is not a weakness. It is the healthiest thing about you. And here is the part that changes everything. The feeling of being a stranger is not the truth about who you are. It is a story your nervous system learned to tell in order to keep you safe. And stories, unlike bones, can be rewritten. The first step is not forcing yourself to open up or be more present. That advice has never helped anyone who carries this kind of wound, and it never will. The first step is simply this: to stop treating the feeling as proof. When you walk into a room and feel that familiar distance, instead of concluding, I don't belong here, try this. This is an old feeling. It is not today's truth. You do not have to believe it fully yet. You just have to stop letting the old story have the final word. You have spent a long time being fluent in the language of almost. Almost connected, almost present, almost belonging. And I want you to know that the fact that you are watching this, that you recognize yourself in these words, that you are still searching for the answer, that itself is proof that the part of you that wants real connection is still alive. It has not given up, even when you thought it had. You are not a stranger. You are someone who learned to stand at the edge of rooms because it was safer than being in the middle of them. But you do not have to stay at the edge forever. The room is not as dangerous as it once was. And you, the real you, not the performed version, are more ready than you think. Start there.